and I'll say time when time's up. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. So this is KO2. It's a game, I think it was originally released in Poland in 2005. And a year later, in 2006, it was released in Europe. And a year after that, in 2007, it was finally released in the United States. Now, you might notice that we're actually playing the original Polish version. And that's because it was released a year earlier than the version in Europe. And they managed to fix a considerable amount of bugs that we actually use in the speedrun. In the European version, they fixed even more in the US version. So, the fastest form of movement is rolling, and then jumping out of the roll and doing a tail swing. So we're going to be doing that throughout the majority of the run in order to just go as fast as possible. There are like 3 main collectibles in the game. You've got these coins, which we will need to collect 3,000 of in order to get to the last level. But 2,000 of those are just given to us for completing other levels, so in reality we only need to collect 1,000 of them. There's a skip here, but I'm failing at it quite hardly right now. Where you can jump across this river. Usually you'd have to knock down a tree with a nut, but we can just jump across the river with perfect timing. And another skip right here. By using like some glitchy collision on the side of here, we can jump over this gate rather than you having to use a switch to make it go down. So the other 2 forms of collectibles that you'll be seeing soon are stars, which we will need to collect 50 of in order to get a certain power-up. There are loads in the game, but we only go using the first power-up. You get a power-up every 50 stars, so that's the first star that we just got. Now if you look up the top of there, you might have seen a purple crystal. Now those are only used to unlock bonus levels, so we won't be collecting many crystals because we don't need them. Only really if they're on our path and it takes more time to go around them. So we're going to get another skip here, where we can abuse some glitchy collision on this wall, and jump up it, and jump onto this water wheel. Usually you'd have to free one of these beavers in order to get the water wheel spinning. But it's slow to do that, so we just kind of skip freeing nearly all the beavers. We're not very nice to the animals in this game, which reminds me of the plot. The plot of this game is there's a hunter, and he's taken a bunch of animals, and we've got to free them. And the area where the hunter's keeping all the animals is behind this gate that's in the hub world. But the character called the boss man isn't going to let us through unless we bribe him with 3,000 of these coins. Now this section really sucks. The way these badges move is almost random. It's not quite, but they always don't seem to want to move in the areas that you want them to. So you've got to herd these badges into the holes, which isn't going too well at the moment because this badge is not moving in the direction that I want him to. There we go. No. In. This is going absolutely horrifically so far. There we go. And once you've herded all the badges into the holes, these mushrooms appear so we can actually get to the end of the level. With how much of this level we skip, it's really annoying that we can't skip this one section, but we've tried. We can get out of bounds, but we can't make the jump over to here. There's no way you can do that without the power-ups that we get later on in the run. Okay, so this is the second level. And it starts with this chase sequence where you're basically just running away from this bear. It's almost pretty much an auto-scroller. there's not really much to talk about here. There's a quick break in the middle here, but we're not going to really be stopping at all. And we've got the second section of the chase, which we can do a few things on, like we can... The main thing is, if we stick to the right at this part, instead of taking a bounce pad over the log, we can just go under it, which is a bit faster. And then here, the quickest route here coming up is just to stay on the bottom the entire time. So we take the left bounce pad here because that leads us to the bottom. And then we go around the bounce pad here because that bounce pad takes us up to the top again. So that's the chase done. So now we've got more of some actual gameplay. So I'm going to collect these coins here, because you'll find that we'll have, by the end of the run, we should have barely over 1,000. So I'm going to use these boomerangs that we just got to kill these vines. Jump up here because it's quicker than going around. And kill that enemy to get its star. Free that beaver, that's one of the few that we'll be freeing. Because this beaver will open up this gate for us. And now we're meant to use this nut to knock down 4 of these acorns. But instead we can just knock down this left one. And this right one. And then use a strafe jump, which is the farthest jump you can make. And then throw the boomerang after to extend that jump. Well, that was weird, the camera turned. But yeah, we can use the boomerang to extend the strafe jump. And that's the furthest we can get without any power-ups. And we're going to be using that a lot, actually, to jump a bit further than the developers thought we could, which will let us skip a few things. That's annoying when that platform does that. Sometimes the platform, depending on what cycles you get, will throw you upwards like that. We hit the lava there, not a real big deal. I died, okay. That's because I'm going a bit slower than I would normally have reset by this point, so I'm not used to the cycles that these fish are on. Because this game runs on a global cycle. Okay, that one was my fault. You have a bit of time after a roll where you can jump even if you're in midair. And I jumped a bit late there. So this gimmick is only used here in the entire game. You're meant to get this bit of dynamite to run after you. And he's meant to break this crystal, but he keeps running into these rocks. He can be a pain like that. And now we're on to one of my favourite levels, Great Trees, where we can, the beavers that you free in these cages are meant to lower this bridge for you, but you can just taunt them, jump off of their cages, and get to the bridge that way. And then we can skip going down this spiral thing here by jumping on top of here. Now these skits that we've just done, we've actually gone over a load zone, so this part of the game isn't actually loaded. I mean, its collision was loaded, but, because collision's always loaded, but the actual graphics and the objects on it weren't loaded. So although we collected those coins, they're actually marked as not collected still. So if we wanted, we could restart the level and collect them again. But doing that constantly, rather than getting all the coins, is slower. So this is, again, unloaded. Well, a lot of it's unloaded, not all of it is this time. And I, messed up there. So we can meant to collect this boomerang, which I have done already because I forgot because I thing. And this boomerang is going to be used to skip an animation later. as well as to perform a skip later on in this level using the jump. So we've got to kill this guy because killing this guy will open up this door for us. We're gonna completely skip this whole area and just fall down here because the game lets us. And then, by throwing my boomerang just as I get this thing, we can skip the animation of Kao putting it on, which will let us fly a bit further all the way over to here. We're gonna skip one of these clouds. And make our way over to this section, where we jump on top of these things. These things can be actually tighter than they look. Jumping and falling down is a bit annoying, but thankfully we made it. We killed one of those, which is good. So instead of going all the way around and through, what we're going to do is just jump down. Although I once again messed up, because this game has weird things when you're turning, like sometimes it can storm the momentum that you used when you're turning. That was actually fixed in the European and US versions of the game. But unfortunately in the Polish version, which is the fastest version, there are bugs with the momentum. So we're meant to destroy all three of these balloons at least once to get to the end. But we can just destroy that one and do a strafe jump over to it. This is another enemy that we need to kill because he'll open up a door for us. The quickest way of killing those enemies is with a free hit combo. If you free hit combo those enemies, they will die instantly, which is a neat mechanic, but unfortunately one that they've actually removed in the other versions of the game for some reason. They take way more hits to kill. And then coming up here is the end of this level. Now, this level is called River Raid, and it sucks. It's my least favourite level in the game, because there's a lot of boring parts to it, and there's a lot of parts where you can fail and get sent back absolutely miles. So, there's a skip coming up right at the start of the level here, where I do want to, like, at least be somewhat confident, but the game's not giving it to me. Hang on. Here we go. Where you can run on the edge of here, and jump over to this platform rather than going all the way around and up. I did want to play that a bit safe, because if you die you go back to the start, but yeah, I've just realised why I'm failing a bunch of stuff. My controller's not registering diagonals properly. Brilliant. Whatever, I'll cope with that for now. It's not too big of an issue. It means I just might fail a bit more than I usually do. Yeah, my diagonal's going slow. I would have realised it if I had longer, but whatever. So we did a bit of a skip there to skip going around by abusing the fact that the hitbox for that bridge damage spike thing extends a bit further to the right than the bridge does, so we could then use the damage boost. So these rafts, you can't jump out of them until they're fully docked, unless you jump into them the first frame that you're able to. If you jump into these rafts on the first frame that you're able to jump out early, which is useful on the last raft, but it's unlikely that I'll be able to get it. So in this case we just need to hit this switch to move on. We jump into this raft rather than walk into it here, because if you walk into it there's a chance that it won't move and you'll just kind of be stuck there unless you die. Same thing with this raft, you don't want to hit the edge of the raft when you jump back into it. You can jump over this fence, but I'm just going to collect the checkpoint because it's really risky if you don't, because you get sent back super far. You hit this switch and jump up here and jump into the raft like that, because it's slightly faster than going around. Now, if we were able to jump out the raft, we could literally just jump out and free this beaver to move on, but we can't jump out the raft right now, unfortunately, so we actually have to go all the way around, which is a lot longer. Small skip here. If we jump on top of here, we can abuse the damage boost again and jump on top of the bridge. Another small skip is instead of using that, we can just do a jump instead of using the net. We can do the same thing here, but it's a lot riskier because the camera turns. So I'm going to actually use the spider's web to climb over. That's unfortunate. I jumped a bit late. See what I mean? If I hadn't collected that checkpoint, I'd be back even further than I am now. Dying on this level sucks a lot because you get sent back so far. I'm actually maybe going to restart after the boss of this world. I'm probably going to see if I can get my controller fixed. That shouldn't take too long. Because this is actually getting quite annoying. There's usually coins here to guide my way, that's why I was hesitating a bit. So now we can break this cage. And then while this beaver's taking his sweet time to actually get to where he needs to go to unlock the gate for us, we can collect a few coins. Now, if we jumped into that on the first frame, we'd be able to jump out a bit earlier, which saves time, but unfortunately we didn't make it in time. So we're going to have to wait for this thing to dock. We'd be able to jump out about here otherwise. We've got to kill both of these guys in order to unlock this door. And through this door is the first boss, which is the Shaman. It's pretty simple boss. All you have to do is avoid these, which can be done literally just by circling like this and it never hits you. And then ground pound on these panels that light up. Destroy these 4 mirrors, and then you can hit him 3 times on the first cycle, 3 times on the second cycle, and 4 times on the third cycle. So I know exactly how many of these lightning shots are going to be before the panel lights up. So it's 4 lightning shots on the first cycle, 5 lightning shots on the second cycle, and 9 on the third cycle. And that was actually a really good boss. I didn't miss any of the shots, so that's nice. Got to wait for this bit of dialogue. It's one of the few cutscenes that you can't actually skip. So, because my controller's a bit glitched, it's going to make some of the tricks coming up quite difficult. I'm going to have to actually reset the game. So I'm going to save and then get my controller to actually... I'm going to save the game right now and get my controller to not be messed up, because my controller being messed up coming up in the future levels is going to make a lot of the skips very difficult. Don't know why my controller's so messed up though, to be honest. But yeah. Is my game captured? Yeah, now it is. Cool. So we're just gotta load the hang on, just gotta load the game that we saved and we're back to playing. So coming up is the second world. Ah yeah, that's a lot better now with the controller fix. Coming up is the second world, which is the snow world. Now the main gimmick of this world is that there are slides that you can slide on, but that also comes as a curse to this run, because the game developers made a mistake, and when handling the physics for the slippery surfaces, they made it load an uninitialized variable, which, depending on what it's set to when it's loaded, because it's not initialized, it can be set to anything, can cause a variety of effects, causing you to either go super fast on the slopes to the point where it's actually uncontrollable, or, for example, you could lose collision with the entire world, or the game could just flat out crash. So, which I'm hoping that none of that's going to happen this run, because I reset the game just now, it's less likely. So that's a plus for me actually having to reset the game. We can jump over these. We've done a few of the jumps to skip a few things that I kind of just ignored, but this is the main one in this level, where we can jump over this fence and just carefully make our way around this ledge. That wasn't carefully, so I'm gonna have to die to get back to that area. So yeah, that's one of the skips. You can see we use the boomerang to get a little bit of extra forward momentum there in order to skip having to kill that pirate. And now we're back to this fence. So we can jump on top of this fence for some reason. I don't know why they made this so it was solid, but they did, which is perfectly useful for us. So we can jump on top of that fence, over the invisible wall, around to the other side, and we can jump on top of this one, and on top of this roof, which is solid for some reason, and onto this ledge. And that skips having to kill a few pirates, break a few stuff. So now, if we stay to the right side here, the next part of the level will actually load in, otherwise the next part of the level wouldn't, and we'd have to play it blind, which would be a pain. And then here we can jump back in bounds. These pirates are really accurate with their shots, and it's quite hard to dodge them. So you missed the cutscene there because I skipped it, but the pirate's basically gonna destroy this whole cave. And we've got to, with his submarine, he's destroying the cave. So I've got to try and avoid that, which is pretty simple, but these cracks can just spontaneously appear, so if you don't know where they are, it can be harder. And sometimes the game has a habit of making you fall through pixel-wide cracks, so I do have to be somewhat careful here. But falling through this hole, and that's the end of this level, and now we've got the ice cave. So the ice cave starts with a barrel section, which is a bit boring. All we have to do is just ride this barrel through this water and kill these spiders. Well, I say kill these spiders. They made one of these spiders literally unkillable because you can't target it. I mean, you can kill it, but not without getting hit, because you can't target it until you've killed the other one, and by that time it's already fired. Its shot would home in on you. So after we've done that, we can just make our way through the ice cave. These things would be beneficial to kill. We don't usually, because they usually go in a way that we can't hit them, but they didn't this time for some reason. Now, we saw a gate to our left there. We meant to open that by going all the way around this area, all the way around the back, destroying a bunch of things. Really slow, so instead we're just going to do another boomerang jump to get down here, which is a lot faster. This sliding section is quite fun. It's good for coins as well. Again, use our momentum boomerang to skip on going on that bounce pad. And jump over this little, I don't know, lake? River? Not sure. I think it's a river actually, and we're on the ice on top of it. Now this pirate's probably going to hit us because he's really accurate with his shots. Yeah, like I say, he's going to hit us probably again as well. This spider might hit us as well because it's kind of hard to avoid, but we did actually avoid it. These cycles were nice. These, again, the game's on a global cycle, so it depends how fast you've been to where those ice things are, but they were in a nice place. This spider's also notorious for hitting you a lot, and he actually did hit me this time. And then this is the last part of the level. This level is kind of boring, to be honest. Not one of the better levels in the game. There's just a lot of ice sliding on it. There is a small skip you can do here by using the boomerang to jump over this gap, but it's really precise and honestly not worth going for. So I'm not going to go for it. Now usually rolling into those things will give you immediately kill them. That one for some reason it doesn't, I'm not sure why. Anyway, this level is, I can't actually remember what it's called, but the entire level you just snowboard down it. So the first part of this, you're just snowboarding down, collecting coins, avoiding hay bales for some reason. Not sure why there's hay bales on a ski slope, but sure. And now, if you can hear me over the absolutely ridiculously loud bulldozer, this stage of the level, you're basically just avoiding doing the spikes that the bulldozer does. Usually these spikes will take away one part of your health if you land on them, but occasionally, for some reason, they'll glitch out and insta-kill you, so it's quite important that you do actually avoid them. This part of the level, you're just again collecting coins, but this time you've got rails to grind on as well. And it's actually beneficial to grind on this rails because they both have coins and they make you go slightly faster. And now suddenly we're inside like this lava cave. And you see at the ends of each of these rails are a bit of red that's meant to indicate when you jump. You can't, but the thing is you actually have to jump right when you hit the start of them. If you jump in the middle of these red parts, you'll miss every time and you'll just land in the lava. So you actually have to jump at the start of the red parts, which is a bit misleading. Also, there's coins on the left and right. If you actually push left and right to get the coins, as many people think you're meant to, you're gonna actually fall off the rail for some reason. It's gonna like disconnect you. So instead you actually have to just not move left or right, and it will actually still collect the coins. There's not really much to talk about in this section, so I guess I'll describe some of the stuff that's going to be coming up. The next world in the game is a water world, and because of that there's you can move in any direction, and that means that there's insane skips that you can do, which basically just skip the entire level. So that's going to be cool coming up. Now we're facing a different perspective. We're facing a backwards perspective, and we've got to avoid these shards of ice that the bulldozer is firing at us, which can actually be easier said than done. But generally, if you stick in the middle of the stage, then you're not going to get hit. There's basically a blind jump coming up right here. If you don't jump, you fall in the river, but you can't really tell it's coming up unless you know about it, which is kind of unfair, but the game developers put it in anyway. So that's the end of the snowboarding section, and now we've got crystal mines, which is a cool level. This is where we're going to be getting the 50th star, which means we'll unlock the power to glide after a jump. So we start by firing this crystal, if I can aim properly, at this switch, which lets this minecart go. You can skip that, but it's with really precise jumps that are not worth going for, because it loses, like, doing it this way loses a second over the more precise way, so it's just not worth going for. Now I'm going to hit this switch to make a platform go up and down. And you're meant to like go through this gate by killing that guy, but you can just ledge grab here instead, which is not only faster, but it means you can skip killing that guy. So it's double faster. We can skip going around here by landing on this part of the rock and then just jumping to this platform. That skips going around that part. Now, unfortunately, there's no way of skipping this, so you do actually have to hit this switch to open this gate. The part of the level that we're aiming to get to is behind those wooden parts to the right of me, but there's no way of jumping on top of them. The invisible wall extends too high, so we have to go around and do it the intended way. Now, you can actually soft lock here if you enter first person mode, so I'm not going to. So we've got more than enough stars now, because there's 3 stars at the end of this level here. Thankfully, it doesn't look like we've encountered any of the glitches that could crash our game, which is nice. Although our game still can crash at the start of some of the water levels coming up. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Just a small skip there. By using the boomerang to keep our momentum, we can skip some of the slide. And then we can skip that by just jumping over that gap. That's just a message telling us we've got 50 stars. But But since we didn't let it finish, it's probably going to play again, like, later in the game, like, much later. Because as long as we're moving, it doesn't play. And now for the second boss of the game. This is pretty simple. You just got to kill all these pirates. And then use the cannon to kill this guy. And got to do that 3 times. Now... this guy's pretty good at avoiding our shots. So it's best not to do that. It's best to try and hit him as much as possible before he starts dodging. In this cycle, it's actually possible to hit him all 5 times before he dodges to the right. Didn't manage to do it that time, but it's fine. And now we've got the last cycle. These pirates always appear at the same places, so I know where they're going to be. And now this is the last cycle. Can't get hit by too many of these barrels. If we get hit by 4 barrels, we die, which is why I'm being careful here, because I've only got 1 bit of health left, but we made it. As I said before, the next world is the water world, which is located over here. Now, the first part of the water world is a boat race. There's a few straps in this level. We can press the strafe button to get a bit of extra speed, which is what I'm doing now. And then when we get these purple things, we can hold the strafe button down to get a large boost of speed, which we're going to be collecting a lot of these purple things throughout the race. Now, you're meant to go over this ramp to collect this purple thing, but we're just going to go into the side of it. Going over this ramp though, because it's faster. And then going through this circle to unlock the shortcut. Now, the game has intended you to go through the circle every lap to unlock the shortcut, but in the Polish version there's a glitch where the shortcuts just remain unlocked. So I'm not having to go through over those ramps and through those purple things again. So that's lap 1, lap 2 is more of the same, and lap 3 is more of the same on top of that, so this is quite boring. So instead of going through this circle this time, I'm just going to go to the right to collect that purple purple orb. Don't know even what it is. SpeedFest power up. Because the shortcut was already open. Same here. I'm not going to bother going over the ramp because that's slow. I'm going to just go to the side of it and take the purple thing like that. And now lap 3 should be exactly the same as lap 2. This is one of the more boring parts of the run for sure. But after this level, the whole run is... That was a bit unfortunate, oh well. After this level, the whole run is less boring. There's no real sections like this anymore after this level. So now we've got the next level, which is, I can't remember what it's called, Hostile Waters or something? Hostile Reef? It's Hostile Reef, yeah, that's it. So, to start this level, we're just going to talk to this turtle just to activate the cutscene. Otherwise the cutscene will activate when you go over here instead, which is slow. And now we're gonna just push up against this wall, which will let us clip above the water plane. And once we've clipped through, which shouldn't be too long now, once we've clipped through, we can swim out of bounds. And I'm just gonna swim directly to the end of the level. Align myself so I know which direction I'm going with the bomb here. Aim for this black speck that's, like, for some reason there. I'm a little bit too far to the left, I think, so I'm just going to move myself a little bit to the right. But soon we should see the cue for the end of the level, which is a rocket being visible down there. Thankfully that rocket's visible, otherwise I wouldn't know where I was. And that's the end of that level. That was actually really good. I've not done that fast ever, I think. I think that was probably a gold. Now on this level you're riding a rocket, but we can't skip this level as well by climbing up here, which for some reason going against that area pushes us out the top of the level. And now there's this set of boxes that, although the rest of the levels, rest of that area is unloaded, this set of boxes that I'm heading towards now is conveniently not unloaded for some reason. I don't know why that part's not unloaded, but it's not, so I can use it to position myself and know where I'm going. So we just head towards the set of boxes. Go sufficiently high, otherwise we're going to clip through and not know where we're going at all. So once we're over this set of boxes, I can move down after a little bit. Now this can be a pain sometimes, but move down now. But it can be a pain because sometimes the last part of the level won't load, and I don't know why. So I'm going to hope it does. And it did, so that's cool. So this is the last part of the level. I'm just going to go back under the water about now and pass by the load zone, which should be in that cage, but it extends slightly out the cage, so we can skip having to go through the ship. And now for the boss of the water world. This is the octopus. There's 3 cycles and 3 phases to each cycle, although you skip the first phase in the first cycle for some reason. The first phase, the second phase, which is this phase, is to destroy all of his tentacles. You can speed up or slow down during that phase by pressing the first person view button and the strafe button, but if you press the strafe button to slow down, you'll get killed in one hit for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. Third phase is just guiding that bullet. And this is the first phase, which is killing all of these squid that he ejaculates. And I'm going to slow down again, because killing these tentacles is easier if you slow down. Although I'm not doing such a great job of it. So yeah, we'll just repeat that one more time after I do this bullet. Kill some more of these squid. This hasn't been a great boss, but it's fine. And one more bullet into his into the bottom of him, and that'll be this boss done, and we'll be moving on to the next world, which is the islands. The island is located down here. This pelican, which we'll be seeing more of in this level, will take us there. The message that's going to be playing right here is just going to be telling us about the 50 stars that we got 2 worlds ago. Small skip here. Instead of going all the way around, you can just jump like that. That does bypass a load zone though, so we can't see where we're going, but it's going to look a bit glitchy because this area to the left of us is unloaded. So because the wrong areas are loaded, it looks a bit glitchy to the left of us here. Now, this pelican moves in a way that can be quite annoying. You can flap with his wings 5 times by pressing jump 5 times, but you have to do it constantly, otherwise you lose all your momentum. If you stop flapping and then start flapping again, you're going to lose all momentum. Now, we jump off the pelican here, but we'll be seeing him again later on in the level. This part of the level is fairly straightforward, so you just go through the platforms like normal. No real skips to this part. Another one of these flying hats that you don't see very often in this run. But we can't skip the animation on this one, unfortunately. Now we've got a small skip here. Instead of jumping down these platforms, I'm going to use the jump hat thing that I got earlier to glide to this part of the stage. And now another one of these parts where you need to knock down the balloons, but instead you can just knock down one of them. I almost made that platform cycle, but I didn't, so I'm just going to have to wait for it. And now, instead of going through this cave to get to the water part, you can just jump and glide. And now we've got another barrel part. This barrel part can be a bit weird. Sometimes you go faster than others, and I'm not quite sure what dictates that. Sometimes you go painfully slow at the bottom here. But it doesn't look like we're going slow, so that's cool. Yeah, we're going quite fast compared to normal. Yeah, that was a good barrel. And now here is like a volcano, and you're meant to go outside there, but instead we're gonna jump up here and use the lava to boost us up to the second part. That actually stops the lava from rising. Normally the lava would be rising right about now, but it isn't, which is actually important for something coming up. So we're going to ride this pelican, and you're going to auto jump me off this pelican around this area. But instead of carrying on, what we're going to do is we're just going to look at this pelican go up. And because we jumped off this pelican, and because the lava's not rising, what it means is that now the pelican's at the top of the level. If we go back to where we would originally land on the pelican, we can actually land on the pelican again and get to the top of the level and just skip the entire tower by up-warping to the top of it. This level is another one where we're going to be using the pelican to skip some stuff. This level is literally called Trip to Island. Oh no, the previous level was... I can't remember what this one's called. These things can be annoying because their shots are way too accurate. Especially if you get hit, because it kills all your momentum if you get hit. So if you get hit like while you're in midair, that that can be a pain. So we're going to be using the glide to skip all the way down here, which actually skips a lot of the level, but bypasses a load zone, which will make this upcoming section a lot harder. Now, every time you collect one of these fish that are in midair, you get 5 extra beats of your wings to fly a bit further. And that's the main gimmick of this section, but because we bypassed a load zone, that means that some of these fish are going to be invisible, and so we can't see them, starting from this heart. So I'm going to have to do this blind and collect these fish without knowing where they are. I'm quite good at it now because I have visual cues, but when you're learning how to do that, it's really hard to learn where those fish are. But fortunately this section loads, so you can actually see where the fish are in this section. It looks like a small skip, it actually skips loads. And it looks quite easy, but it's actually very difficult. And now here's another skip. Coming up right about here. You're meant to, there's meant to be this boulder, and you're meant to go through some like loops to make the boulder reach this gate at the bottom to break it. It's kind of weird, you just got to pass through like 5 hoops to make the boulder break. But instead what we're going to do is we're going to move out of bounds in a specific way so as to unload the gate, so we can just go through it without having to make the boulder. So if I move out of bounds in this specific way, and then jump down to where the gate is, you see that the gate, which is usually in that hole, is unloaded, and we can just pass right through it. That skips having to go all the way around and make the boulder break the gate itself. Here you're meant to like climb up stuff and whatever, but you can just land on the bottom of these pillars instead. Collecting that checkpoint for safety mainly, more than anything else. These crafts can be a pain. A lot of the time you're going to get hit by them. So now I need to kill this guy and this bomb thing, and then the pelican will come down to take us to the next level, which is called, I think it's literally just called the volcano. The whole level is just called the volcano. Yeah, there you go, volcano. And there's a skip right at the start of this level. There's meant to be like a puzzle section where you're like inside this temple, but instead what we can do is jump on these well-placed rocks and land on top of the interior of the temple. And although it's unloaded, I do know which way to go thanks to this convenient beam of light that's just randomly there. And now I can align myself. And by travelling on top of the temple rather than going through it, you skip a lot of puzzle parts. His shots can actually hit you through the roof, so I've got to try and avoid them. And now, thankfully, this bounce pad is actually has collision from that extends just outside the wall, so we can get back in bounds. Got another chase section here. Not had one of those in a while. This one's fairly easy. You just follow the coins basically. As you can see, we nearly have 2,000 coins, and we're going to be getting 1,000 at the end of this level, which means we're well on target to get the 3,000 coins that we will need. Oh really? Wow, that was bad. Okay, so I fell off right at the end of that chase section there. That's unfortunate. And now for this part, we're basically just going to be navigating through these rooms and killing the pirates. Because killing the pirates will open up the door for us. We only have to kill one of these pirates. The other one doesn't do anything if you kill him, but this one will open the door. This door opens very slowly. It's like, I don't know why that one opens so slowly, but it does. So as you can see, we're almost at the 2,000 coins that we need. I'm actually slightly shy, but there's like 3 coins back there that I can collect. So we should be getting an exact amount of coins, which is nice. So we can go down this elevator. And now here, we're basically just harvesting a bunch of coins. Once you get 20 of these, you'll get 1,000 coins. Now, interestingly, after you beat this level, there's meant to be a boss. But because we'll have the 3,000 coins at the end of this level, and all the game checks for when unlocking the last part of the level is how many coins you have. Last part of the level, I mean the last part of the game is how many coins you have. You can just return to hub after this level and it will skip having to do the boss. So that's what I'm gonna do. The positioning for all of these is set, so I know exactly where they're gonna be and which ones to not get. If you get one of the bombs, you have to reset the whole level. So I'm just returning to hub now, but after I got the last one, you can return to hub immediately. And because I have 3,000 coins now, this guy's gonna let me through.
Wyobraź sobie, mięśniaku, że mam. Proszę, tu są pieniądze. Czas rozprawić się z Hunterem.
So now we're in Abandoned Town. This is a level where we can almost skip the entire thing, but because of one jump that we can't make, we can't, which is really unfortunate, so we have to go all through the level. We can skip quite a bit of it though, but not as much as we would be able to if this jump was possible. So first thing first, we get in this box and let this thing pick us up. That will take us to the factory section. And now we can skip a lot of this factory section by literally just jumping on top of these hay bales, which will take us to the second level of the factory. And then we can, again, we can skip a lot of it again by jumping on top of here and then jumping over this fence. Although it does sometimes glitch the camera out. Another skip, which is going to unload a bunch of stuff, is instead of activating this switch by going to the left, we're going to just jump all the way over here. It looks like a jump that's actually intended, but it's really not. As you will see, this part is kind of glitchy looking because it's unloaded. Invisible pirate there. And now we're going to do another skip, where we can jump up here, which is unintended. And now we can jump down here. Looks like we're going to die, but we're not, because this area exists, it's just unloaded. Thankfully, this pirate loads in, so I can actually see kind of where I am. And once we hit this wall at the end, we can move down here and go into another chase section, except this time it's unloaded. But now we're in the loaded area. Normally the camera would be facing the other way right now, but because we entered it while it was unloaded, the camera's facing forwards, which is actually makes this section a bit easier. Wow, I've literally never died there before. I had no idea how far back this took you if you died. Wow. This one's not been going great, but it's passable at least for a marathon run. Coins are literally useless after you've entered this level, so I actually don't know. Oh, I fell down. That's unfortunate. So I honestly don't know why they bother putting them in this level, because they're literally useless. But whatever, I guess. So we're going back to this section. Being very careful not to go off to the right here where it's unloaded. And now after this chase section, we're basically at the end of the level. And the glitch I was talking about earlier, which is almost possible, but isn't due to one jump, would take us right from the start of the level directly to this chase section. Which is why it's very unfortunate that we can't do it. There's a checkpoint here, which I have no idea why, because the end of the level is literally right here. And there's like no way of dying apart from being stupid and falling in the water. So now we're in Hunter's Galleon. This level is fairly straightforward. There's not really much you can do here. You've got to avoid these spike bag things. Just ignore the parrot. Skip this cutscene. And go get these boomerangs. We can actually kill these spiders for once without actually using the boomerangs, which is interesting. And probably the only time in the game where that's possible. Hit the switch to open the door. If we roll after that switch, which you might think might be beneficial because it takes further, you can actually get embedded into that spike bag and not get out, and you'll just die. So the idea for this level is you're meant to free the animals. We're going to be freeing this animal, but after this we're not going to be freeing any of them. We have to free that one because it opens up this gate here, which we have no way of getting past otherwise. But we're going to skip freeing the parrot and the turtle, because there's a way of skipping that. We're not very kind to the animals in this one. Oh no, we freed the pelican as well. That's right. So now this turtle's, the parrot's going to beg us to free him. We're not going to. But we are going to jump up here. Pressing that button would usually free the turtle, which we could then use to get to the area to free the parrot. But instead what we're going to do is jump on this nicely placed bit of collision right here. Jump on top of the parrot's cage to taunt it, if I could have actually made it. Okay. This is actually an easy trick, so I don't know why I'm failing it. These platforms are actually reused from the Great Trees level that was much earlier in the run. Third toe is lucky. Yeah, so jump on top of that glitchy bit of collision, jump on top of this cage, and then jump over to here. And we skip freeing the parrot and the turtle. But the parrot does actually reappear at this level, so don't worry, he survives. And now this is the final boss. We've got to kill them. You basically just hit him 2 times on each side a few times. So you hit him 2 times, he'll come over, destroy a bit more of his ship for some reason. And once we've killed him, once we hit him again here, we'll get onto the next phase of the boss, where the parrot will take us to basically a chase section. He's going to chase us, destroying these platforms, so we just got to make sure we get off these platforms before he breaks them. Interestingly, a lot of this game is stolen from Rayman 2. You notice that he's firing helicopter bombs, which is a very Rayman 2 trait, and I actually died on the boss. This run's been quite awful, honestly. But thankfully the last part of the boss is really easy, so there's like no way to fail it. So once we got past this chase section, should be fine. He won't destroy these 2 platforms, so we're safe now. So now all I have to do is just spam my boomerang at him, and time will be when the last boomerang hits. So time. So yeah, that was KO2. Wasn't a brilliant example of a run, considering how many mistakes I made, but I hope I managed to get everything across okay. Hope everyone understood everything that was going on in the run. For runs that are actually good, you might want to follow me on Twitch, because I think I do a lot better when I'm not in a marathon and I get nerves, so yeah. The next game, I have no idea what it is. I think I was filling in for someone else who hasn't made up, so if someone's turned up, that's cool, but if no one's turned up, then I guess you'll be watching a blank screen for a while. So yeah, I'm gonna stop streaming now.